Carroll County Commissioners. First item on the agenda is public input. You got public input?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
It's been a long
morning.
Morning,
time.
Mrs. Spencer.
I do want you to know I do tune in periodically to view you.
I would say before you get started that Asha Kenney could not make the meeting this morning. She wanted to change it to 1 o'clock. And I said that the meeting was already posted so that everybody knew at the time.
Yeah.
And I said we can't change it to go from 8:30 to 1 o'clock. So she's not here because of that reason. I don't know what her reason was. She couldn't be here, but anyway, go
All right,
ahead.
well, thank you, because that would have distressed me.
Maureen,
Anyways,
you also, do you know our clerk,
I do know her from,
Michelle Hamilton?
Hi, Michelle.
Maureen Spencer.
Thank you for hanging in there.
I almost got defunded on Monday.
Yeah, just put your head down and do this. That's what you do.
Yep.
There you go. Anyway, thank you for
Yeah.
what you're doing. I do follow you. I'm sorry I can't be here, but I do pay attention. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that Friends of Mountain View are going to be doing the Just Desserts again this year. It's the same, except that we're gonna do it on Sunday, April 6th, from 3 to 5.
Oh, you changed the
Well, we changed the day, yeah.
Sunday 3 to 5?
Yeah, David's got postcards, so that you
I've
can
got postcards here.
pass a few
Oh,
out.
okay.
We're gonna, hopefully we'll have a bigger crowd, because we're gonna put signs out on Route 16, 153, and 25.
I thought it was bad to have it during the week.
Well, the reason was because Susan was adamantly opposed to it at the time because she had church in the afternoon, but I talked to Howie, and they're gonna work it out.
Sunday 3 to 5.
Yeah, Sunday's a better day. We're hoping to catch all the people that are going back to Massachusetts, and,
Hmm.
We also are gonna have a silent auction like we did last year. So, I mean, it was a really good fundraiser. We actually, for the amount of people that came, we actually made a pretty good amount of money for it.
Yeah. Let her finish.
Oh, I
Anything
wanted to
else?
ask her a question.
Oh, well, anyway, so there are gonna be posters, and we made up a whole bunch of postcards. So if you wanna take some, I'm gonna leave them at the window at Mountain View, so
Okay.
that if people have places they wanna put them, is it all right if I put posters up on the doors
Sure.
downstairs?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything you can do to advertise this would be very helpful.
Could we have a few more then, if that's, I thought you just wanted us to give them to people. If you want us to drop them off in places where we go, I'd be more than glad to do that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'll put it in the village store.
May I ask Mrs. Spencer?
Go ahead. I'm
Mrs.
sorry.
Spencer, I think I can quote you when you said it's going to be the same as last time.
And David,
that mean
we'll
there
have
will be-
chocolate sauce.
No chocolate?
All we want to know. Thank you. It was
I
a wonderful
promise.
time. I had a great time. It was every kind of dessert in the world. If you want to put on weight, immediately it's the place to go.
And speaking of that, we will have takeout boxes this year available,
Okay.
so that if you want to come in and take
There was
something.
a lot of food left over.
Yeah,
But it was really a nice time, and I hope we can get more people to go. It's not only an opportunity to see the nursing home and how nice it is, but how much work the Friends do to support it.
Mhm.
It's just a nice occasion.
well, it makes me very happy, because I can't tell you how many people asked me when we were gonna do it again, and if we do it twice.
Hmm.
So, I said, we're not doing it twice, but yes, we'll do it again.
If
So,
I'm not boiling, I'll be here.
If you're not boiling, why?
Making maple syrup.
Oh, maple syrup, yeah.
Supposed to be a good weekend.
How's that going?
Terrible.
Slow?
Hasn't run at all. Maybe this weekend it will be better with 40 and 50-degree weather, so,
Yeah, it's supposed to be warmer.
anyway, good luck.
All right, thank you very much, and like I said, these will be at the posters and the postcards will be at Mountain View, and I will have, like I said, I will have signs out. Chip's making us sandwich board signs, so we're gonna do a little more prominent advertising on the major highways. And I'm gonna try to get one from Pepsi, a banner, so that we can maybe put it out here.
Mo, if you call, I just did, called Coca-Cola for the Farm Day, and they do have they do foot the bill, make their own
Where's
signs
Coke?
for
Where
you.
is it? Where's Coke?
I called over in Belmont, the corporate offices, and they're very nice. They offered us, we asked for one, they offered us 2 3x10.
Did you have to go get them?
Well, I mean,
Belmont?
you want me to pay for the gas?
Yeah. Pepsi's in Conway. That's a little closer to
Oh.
Belmont, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you also have extra posters? Could I have 2 or 3 posters
Sure.
to take?
Yeah, let me have one too.
No, that'd be great. I've been trying to get them up to
What
as
kind
many
of items are you
places.
auctioning?
It's a variety. We have children's items, they're all brand new.
Do they have to be in a box?
No,
Okay.
no, anything people want to donate, but actually, the auction went great last year. People loved it. How many do you want? How many do you want?
2 or 3.
I just want one.
Okay.
Put one in the Eaton store?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
take
sure.
one over at Katie's in Wolfboro.
You probably already know, Maureen, but we dedicated the annual report to Don Lesko. And there's a little write-up in there about
To
how
Don?
he's, yes,
Oh, good, no, I
Yeah.
didn't know
with
that.
a picture and so forth. And it's in the printers right now,
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, Don unfortunately had to retire from
Yep.
the Friends because of personal
Yep.
issues at home. That's a
Yep,
huge loss to us because he was great. He was
He's a-
always there, always helpful.
yeah.
So we are going to miss him.
He's a fun writer, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, you have his book.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Lesko?
Yeah,
I didn't realize he did a book.
oh, yeah.
Is that
It is funny.
If I think of it, I'll remember to bring it so you can look
It's
at
funny.
it. It's
Yeah.
great. It started with a pail, is the name of it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, we had him at our writers' night in Effingham.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Huh.
he's a hoot.
And the part that got me was off the cuff, he was funny.
Yeah,
And he just, like a stand-up comedian.
he is. He's a funny guy. All right,
Okay, thank you,
very
Maureen.
much, Commissioners, for your time.
I'll open it up to the general public for any other comments. Seeing none, we don't have any minutes.
Yeah, they're gonna be late.
Yeah,
I'm working my way through them, but I'm prioritizing the delegation.
okay, yeah,
Like, yeah.
yep,
They won't be very late. I should be caught up by next Wednesday.
okay.
Don't worry about it.
And make sure we get the non-public, we need to do those.
Oh, I do have some here to vote on if you've got time.
We'll go in non-public at the very end, just to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Just a report, reason why I'm a little bit late, I went over to the farm. They had called, Grapponi is where they bought the pickup truck. And in order to put a dump body on the pickup truck, they gotta change the rear end, put two wheels
Two
on it.
wheels on it.
And I didn't get a price, but they said it wasn't really feasible to do it. It'd cost us a lot of money to do it. So that's where that stands. There was a confusion regarding moving $500.
Yes,
You know that?
yes, I went over there yesterday. and
Oh, okay.
We thought it was the chemicals.
Yep.
But That
It's-
line item, the maintenance, and I should have known better, it was
For
maintenance
shovels
of
and stuff.
buildings and,
Yeah.
and shovels, but mainly equipment for the building, to
Right.
keep the buildings up to
Right.
date.
Yep. Okay.
And we didn't have $20,000 in the truck, we had 12.
Right.
The 20,000 is the
Capital
plan,
reserve.
capital reserve plan that
Yeah.
Willie tried to get going, but the delegation didn't fund it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, then we'll move into the regular budget. Howard, you're on first?
Thank you.
Is there another,
Hmm?
is there another agenda up there?
Yeah, you can
I
look at
got
this
mine
one.
downstairs.
Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you, Steve.
Go to the right bundle here.
Thank
For
you.
you. Where's the number? Should it be needed?
She won't be here, but that's okay. We'll put it on her desk.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have three things for you today. The first is the requested revisit to the proposed pay increase for private pay residents. And what I've done is to listen to your concerns and others about the size of the initial last week's offering. And so what I'm suggesting now is that instead of $10 a day increase, be a $5 a day increase, bringing it down to a 1.7% increase. That's for present residents, so that's a lot more modest. That's half of what was proposed last week.
Okay.
Is this an open discussion?
Go ahead.
Go along? That makes me feel better, Howie,
Yeah.
because, if we're raising it because the costs are going up, and cola or whatever goes up 1.5%, and we go up 10, it's pretty hard to justify. And-
Well-
And I appreciate the fact that you've taken it into consideration and gone to 5, because that's a lot more palatable for me.
Well, the reason I didn't feel bad about suggesting the 5, I agree, I mean, the 10, is that when we moved from 2 to a room and 2 to half a bath, 4 to half a bath, we didn't make any significant change. So essentially, going into the new building, the old rates continued. So while there is a justification, I agree with you, Commissioner Babson. I think this is a kinder and gentler approach.
Yes,
Now,
and I will support it.
for the second tier is for the new private pay residents. I also sense that there was not a appetite on the part of the commissioners and on others to essentially go from 290 to the 350.
350, yeah.
And so here are proposed splitting the difference at 325. I also spoke with my cohorts in the other county homes. And what we have here is a very unique situation. There is no other place that has both private room, private lavatory, and private showers, so there aren't any
No
comparables.
accommodations.
The closest I could find was Rockingham, and they don't have private showers, and they're charging $325. So in recommending $325 to you, essentially, we're providing Carroll County residents a better value for the same price that they'd be paying in other county homes. And the good part about this is somebody coming in would be making that decision up front. So there would not be, they could decide that it's too much. Now, here's the rest of the story that you need to keep in the back of your minds relative to private pay at the county home. Most people that will be coming to us private pay, long-term care, not all, most know that they will not have money to last their lifetime. They know that. So when I talk to people, when I talk to prospective residents, and had a nice talk with one lady last week about her mom, she says, doesn't matter whether you charge $300, $325, or $400 in a year. It's only a matter of whether it's a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's extremely beneficial to the county. So we don't want to be callous about it, but it's not going to make a world of difference. People are going to choose us because it's the right location and the right care. So have reduced my previous recommendation to $325. Important to note, for the delegation purposes, there was no increase factored into the 2014 budget.
Right.
So I didn't want to do anything that would in any way obligate you to have to do something or to redo the budget. So neither of these were included in the budget.
But they could be Friday.
But, well, I would encourage you to do this, and it would, I wouldn't encourage to change the budget on Friday to reflect this, but this, by the time quite frankly, the second one might only involve a handful of people. We're already through the first quarter, practically. So by the time this gets rippled in.
And when is that effective, the 325?
The 325, I think here, I meant to put in an exact date. I was looking for June 1st.
June 1st is on the $5 a day.
And that's, well, actually, the private pay rate could be that's true. The private pay rate could be at any time for new people coming in, unless you wanted to set a date certain.
Go ahead.
Couple of things. When are residents expected to pay, Howard? The first of the month or the anniversary of the day they move in?
First of the month, they're paying prospectively.
Okay, then I would suggest that we, it isn't going to make that much difference that we go with July 1st. And that gives us 6 months of none of this going back, and it was, well,
Yeah.
6 months for, 7 months for part of the year and 5 months for part of the year. For
Both of them be
budgeting
effective.
purposes, it would be much easier if we went July 1st.
That is certainly no problem at all.
We have to give them a 30-day notice anyway, right?
Correct.
Well, let's do that then.
Okay.
Now, we can, what do we do about the delegation? Give these figures to them and they can
We don't
raise
have
them?
to do anything, we just raise it.
We do.
Yeah.
Just by vote of the board?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
I think at this point, the delegation is gonna wanna go forward with the revenue figures they have. So this, my
Mhm.
guess is, this is gonna be relatively inconsequential for
For this
half the year.
Yeah.
And that it's not gonna have a material effect. So it's certainly, this is certainly a public meeting, there's no intent to hide. But given that it's not material,
Yeah.
I think the effort and work that it would take to redo all the budget sheets to anticipate
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
wouldn't make sense.
What
Yeah.
happens, Howard, they've got it in their budget as revenue at these prices, have they
No.
not?
They do not.
No.
2014, I did all that future projection based on future
Oh,
years,
okay.
starting
Then there's no problem.
2015.
That's okay.
And they were content with that, because they did ask, but I made it very clear at
That's
each step
okay.
along the way that I did not want to lock the commissioners into any kind of an awkward spot where something had been promised that could not be delivered.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, we could wait till the first of the year to do it.
It's your discretion, but the earlier we start with it, especially with a private pay rate, because there's no going back on that, because once somebody's in,
Yeah.
they're locked in for life, actually.
Yeah. Normally, when we increase the rate, it's normally done at the first of the year, in the past. We've done it like in October, November, effective the first of the year, the rates change, but on everybody. So do I hear a motion? What do we want to do here?
I make a motion that we increase as of July 1st, 2014, the private pay rate to $325 a day from $290, and then we increase these are for new residents.
I'll second that motion.
You want to go just?
All those, any further discussion on that motion?
Oh, I haven't finished
No,
yet.
I've seconded what you've done, so.
Okay,
We'll
fine, no
act on the next
discussion.
one.
Okay.
Okay? Any further discussion? Then all those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, then so voted.
I'll make a
Now, go
motion that
ahead.
we raise for the new residents coming in as of July 1st, 2014. We raise the daily, no, we just did that.
Yeah,
That we raise the
present.
present private rates as of 7/1/214 from 290 to, where is the figure?
To 295.
To 295.
Yeah. I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, then so voted too.
Okay. Thank you both very much.
And that
Well,
is-
thank you, Howie. I think, we've got a lovely facility. We've got people that want to come here. It's not Fenway Park or the Boston Garden where you got them in there, a Busch Garden, and you can charge them anything you want. We have that capability, but I think we're kind. We've got a business to operate, and we have the opportunity to gouge them if we really want to, but we haven't.
No, we
Thank
need
you
to be,
very
we need to
much.
be fair.
Okay, next.
Page 2 is the solid waste disposal and recycling contract. I went back through all the records, and the story of this is, with tremendous thanks to Commissioner Babson and Bob Murray, at the end of last year, in the beginning of January, they met with and talked to 3 different suppliers. And then they came to the January 15th meeting of the commissioners, recognizing they had talked to everybody, and recommending that the board waive the requirement to go out for competitive bid, because they couldn't find anybody else that would take it, and our present provider was agreeable to reducing their amount by $150 a month. That vote did not carry. And so we advertised, we went out to bid with a closing date of February 20th, and this is where I made my mistake. I believe now that it was the expectation of the commissioners that it be brought back to the commissioners. It was my assumption and my zeal to try to capture that $150 a month, so I authorized Bob to go ahead with the one bid that we had at a price that had already been disclosed to the board. So I apologize for not having brought that back.
Can I say something, please, Mr. Commissioner?
Yeah, go ahead.
Howie, I can understand where you were confused. It might have been partly our fault. We got the same prices we got before, so let's not waste any more time. We got what we want. You did a good job, and let's approve it.
I didn't understand what you said about Bob Murray. Did he sign the contract?
I can't find a copy of whether it's signed. I know that I authorized him to go ahead with Waste Management. Now,
You
what?
can't do that.
No, and
If
that's
it's a
it.
contract, we have to do that.
And that's where I now,
Okay.
and that's why I apologize.
Oh,
I knew
okay.
that you were
Yeah.
aware of it, but I should have brought it back. And I actually have that contract here if you want to sign it.
Yes.
Um,
Well,
I want to compare it and make sure it's the exact numbers, and if they are, we'll go right ahead and sign it. 'cause
It's,
we're
it's
saving-
actually, it's the exact contract that,
Okay.
literally, the same, the
We're
copy of
signing,
the
we're saving
exact.
somewhere for the next 6 months anyway.
And you have a
somewhere
copy of that
between
contract in the packets that you have in front of you at the end, so that you
Right
have
here.
a reference document. But again, my apologies, Yours at the very, yeah, and did you just get one page? No, not the,
Is the print small enough?
oh, I know, talk about the fine print. But it's with my thanks to Commissioner Babson for having taken the lead, because, who would have thought? At the time, there was concern about going out to bid that Waste Management might withdraw their offer or otherwise be scared and not participate, but they were fine with things.
And for the public, the contract is, Waste Management will give us the prices for 2011 for a year, and then there's a 6% increase each of the 2 following years.
so it's a 3-year contract.
It's a 3-year contract. Other than the fact that they have a $4 charge on the bill because we don't pay, because we pay by check, which they've promised to take off every month for the 6 months since we've dealt with them, and it's still there. Other than that,
Well,
they've done a
they
real good job.
they
It's not
cost-
on here. So it's out of here, finally. But it was out last month and the month before, and it's still on the bill. So anyway, it's just a small, but they do a good job. They've even given us, we had a situation at Christmas time where they couldn't get here, so we also talked them into giving us a free 10-yarder out here if we get in an emergency and they can't get here, or that we had some big shindig and we've got too much extra trash.
Which is wonderful. And
They
and at
put it
no
out
co-
back for us so that we'll be able to, and not charging us.
I've never seen a waste contract ever go down by about 10%, which is amazing.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to have a vote to sign that contract.
Yes,
and
we
make it-
do.
Make it part of the record.
Not right this minute. This is basically nothing more than an eye test, Howie.
Oh, it's actually the same contract that you recommended 2 months ago.
Okay, well, I'd just soon take a look at it
Okay.
before I sign it. Is it possible to get it in maybe 28-point font or something that I could read even without my glasses?
We can try blowing it up, so I will.
Because really, even with my glasses, I can't read it. Just to make sure they haven't, it's the same as the last one.
Okay, you want to hold off on that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And the last one I have for you on page 3 is a personnel policy review. About 2 months ago, Becky and I came to you with a particular situation in non-public. And what it really deals with is if a staff member, by virtue of illness or injury, non-job related, can they come back in any capacity? And it was, the policy, as was referred to at the time, but apparently doesn't exist in written form, was that the answer was no.
Well, you're right here, unless it was cleared by a physician return to work without limitation.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, and now what we found is, since that time, we've had two people, and we have one presently who, there's two situations that could happen. Somebody could be injured and still be able to do the 90% of their job and be able to do it well. But this policy, and I don't have it, so I can't refer to it, but my understanding from the intention that the commissioners had, that you wanted 100% return. For some people, it's gonna mean, well, in this one case, if you don't have sick time, if you can't come back, you don't get paid. And we have to pay somebody, we have to find a temporary to fill the position. In other situations, we're paying somebody to be at home and then paying somebody to take their place. In both situations, it's additional cost to the county, and in one situation, it's with a hardship to the staff member. So my suggestion is that the policy be amended or in some form so as to allow a certain amount of discretion when it's in the best interest of the county to make an exception, which isn't to give carte blanche. There are some positions for which there are some injuries, illnesses, and situations that would of course never make sense. But there are others, especially for those doing clerical work, where a temporary lifting limitation is not really burdensome to us, but would not be allowable under what I understand is the present policy.
So you want us to set a policy that, that allows somebody at the nursing home, you or Becky or HR, to determine whether the person can come back to work?
Well, exactly. If it's in the best interest of the county for somebody to be able to come back with a modified or limited duty on a non-work related illness or injury, that it would, if it's in the best interest of the county to be able to make an exception. Doesn't change the fundamental basis of what I understand the policy is, but gives a certain amount of flexibility for those situations where we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot to close the door on somebody.
I don't have a problem changing it, Howie, as long as it's something that everybody understands that it's our decision, and we'll make it, and there won't be any screaming about discrimination or whatever, that you let her come back to work, but he couldn't come back to work. We don't want to get into that, but if it's
Definitely.
well understood that it's, every case is taken as an independent situation, and that we're going to make the decision based on the facts of that one case, I'm fine with it.
I'd like to ask our HR director, is there a difference between whether they get injured on the job and off the job? What's the difference?
And that's what we had actually talked about before when the situation had come up at the nursing home. In following up with our workers' comp provider, it is highly, highly recommended by our insurer that we do not bring people back to work that are injured outside of work-related injuries. If they are injured outside of work and they come back to work, there's a high liability on the county and on the potential for the injured employee to further injure themselves at work, which would then be our responsibility. We had this discussion, and I have a draft policy for you for a county-wide, not a specific to Mountain View, but a county-wide policy with people returning back to work with a non-work-related injury. With work-related injuries, we absolutely have a requirement by the RSAs, by the workers' comp law, to bring people back on temporary alternative duty, on light duty. We follow that, we have a policy on that. We work very closely with the departments who have work-related injuries. But when it comes to someone who is injured outside of work, we have to be very, very careful for that. the liability that would fall on the county. And it's not to say that we don't care about our employees, that we don't value our employees, because we do, and we want to make sure that they are suitable to be back to work. In the draft policy, it does say that HR has to be the oversight for that in collaboration with the departments as to the job description and the essential functions of the job. So I agree that there are cases where we would be able to, with proper documentation from the doctors and as far as the documentation covering what their essential functions are, we would be able to, in some very specific instances, be able to bring people back to work if they were injured outside of work. So in collaboration with the department heads, the facility administrators, to be able to look at that, but to follow our county-wide policy, not making a policy be specific to each department.
Okay. I guess I'm a little dense. To me, if you drop a log on your foot while you're splitting wood, and you break a toe.
Here, at work,
No, at home.
or at home? Okay.
That's the same, no different situation than if one of Willie's people drops a log on their foot and breaks their toe. What is the difference? I can see that if somebody's has a back injury and you want to bring them back in a situation where they're going to be lifting patients, that doesn't make sense. I don't see the difference between whether you do it at work or whether you do it at home. I certainly would insist that we have a release of some sort from the worker and from the doctor. But I don't see why if you've got a back injury, you can't sit down and, or clean up the dinner hall or do paperwork or whatever is light duty compared to the chance that you might injure your back again.
Is it all subject to the insurance and the liability?
Yeah, workers' comp and the liability on the county, and that's our responsibility to make sure that all of the employees that are working to a capacity that is beneficial and not causing further harm to themselves or to the county. So, David, in regards to whether a person gets injured outside or at work, there are laws that cover the employees that get injured at work. But when it comes to someone being injured outside, that's why we have sick time. That's why we have, why some people choose to purchase short-term disability, long-term disability, to have that coverage. But, and we have a lot of per diems who absolutely do not have any benefits. But those people who have benefits, that's why we have sick time. So they use their sick time to cover them, as Howie has said, until they're able to come back and do the essential functions of their job. So
Okay.
it's really to protect the county and the employees.
And there's no change in wages if they come back under light duty? The
But
wages
under-
stay the same?
Under the workers' comp law, they can have a reduced wage if they are not doing if they are doing a different job, not their own job, and it is a lesser job, but it is to get them back into the workplace on that light duty function. There are times that their wage is reduced, however, workers' comp does take care of that difference in wages. So we would not have to pay them, if they were making $20 an hour and they came back to a $10 an hour position, workers' comp does take that into the calculations. But at least we are getting the injured employee, injured on the job, back to work under the RSAs, under the law, and we are helping them to get better because it's proven, the statistics show that when someone is back in the workforce and being productive, they heal faster and they feel that they are a benefit to the employer as well as themselves. So that piece is all covered by the laws, but as I said, our insurer highly recommends that we do not bring people back when they are injured outside of work. Unless we are able to have them do the essential functions of their job, and their doctor's note with their physician does not limit them to not being able to do their essential functions.
I would think that it would depend on the injury.
Right.
If the injury is such that the person split their toe, and they are office workers, no reason why they couldn't come back, and no limits at all, because it's a desk job. On the other hand, if they were lifting patients, then their split toe may have an effect on it, and they can't do it.
Right.
Could injure something else because they're favoring the other foot.
Or injure the patient.
Or injure the patient, you're right. So, in the overall policy,
Mhm.
is there flexibility in there
Mm-hmm.
to be an exception approved by the Board of Commissioners?
Or if the Board of Commissioners would allow the HR director to be a part of that, which I would think that you would want me to be a part of that, in going through that documentation and working with the department head or the facility administrator to ensure that we are being fair and equitable, and there is, as you said, no discrimination and no questions, so that we have that proper documentation.
Okay.
And at times, we would have to call our insurance carrier to maybe find out their opinion as to if this is an applicable situation, not putting the county at a higher liability.
Does the Labor Department become involved in any of this?
Not unless there is a claim filed on behalf of the employee that we are not following the laws.
Okay, go ahead.
Did I understand you correctly, Dave, to say that you wanted to make the decision on whether the person comes back to work, or were you referring to the decision on the policy? I thought you said you wanted to make the decision along with HR and the head of the nursing home on whether someone comes back to work.
And the doctor, probably.
But
Yes.
you said you wanted to be.
No.
Meaning, that's how I understood you. You
Okay.
didn't say that.
No.
Because I believe that we have very competent
I do too.
people working, and it should be their decision. I don't know what a person does over at the nursing home, and I don't want it on my back that somebody
Yeah.
fell and
No,
hit
no,
a
no.
patient.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So you just want, your statement was to okay
I
the
want-
policy.
I want flexibility in the policy so that case-by-case basis, they could come back to full-time work
Right.
depending on their injury. But that would be a decision that's made between HR, department head, and us, and the Board of Commissioners.
Well, now you've just said it again, and the Board of Commissioners. I
Well,
don't
in
want.
agreement, because I don't know if
These two
they can
people
make
are
it.
the people that we've hired to do the job, and I strongly support them, and I think it should be their decision. If we're gonna get involved if something goes wrong, you can be sure about that, because there'll be a lawsuit
Yeah.
involved. But I don't personally wanna be, it's only my decision, be involved in each individual case. That's their responsibility. That's why
I
we have
guess
them.
I'm not making myself clear. It's not ultimately it's the Board of Commissioners. However, it's all based on a recommendation from the HR and the department head. We don't go and make the decision without their input.
Do you have eggs on top of mud this morning, or what?
Am I not
What's
clear?
the story? Well, you keep saying you don't want to be involved, and then you just say, well, I want to be involved with the commissioners on the final decision. Either we're in it or we're not in it. I don't want to be in it. I'll be in it when the lawsuit comes because somebody's done.
Well, that's
hurt
true.
somebody.
A suggestion is that if you're not part of the final decision, it leaves you open, essentially, you are also the Court of Appeals here. So it might be prudent for you not to be part of the decision, for that to
Okay.
be a staff level decision. If for whatever reason that doesn't meet with satisfaction, then you could be the arbitrators at a later time if
Good
needed.
point.
Very good point.
And
Okay.
because, and I think statutorily, you are that role of arbitrator.
That's right.
But I appreciate the fact that you're willing to include into the policy, build into the policy, the flexibility, because I think that sends a good message to staff that we're not gonna be so rigid as to keep somebody with a hurt toe out of some positions where where the walking part is only a 2% part of their whole responsibility. And quite frankly, it's gonna save us money if we don't have to send people home or keep people home who we can put to work.
Okay. Okay, when are you proposing to give us that proposal on the county?
I have the draft, and I just need to run it by a few more legal matters, and
Okay. Do we have people pending right now that would want to come back to work?
We do.
Are there any, how many?
There's one that has a pending surgery, upcoming surgery, and there's another holdover one that I'm not exactly sure what her status is. So we only have one that came to my attention yesterday, which is why I'm here today.
What would you like to do?
I'll wait till the policy is
Okay.
completed and go over it and discuss it with these two folks and make a decision.
All right, we'll wait until next week. We'll have it ready for next week?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, what else you got?
That's all I have for you. I can update you on the one little budget item that took me by surprise on Monday. There had been no discussion about moving farm food revenue from one line to the other. That's, $500 was moved from the nursing home buying produce from the farm to general purchasing, and that's not a, it doesn't
Howard, I
matter
thought
to
they
us.
reduced it from, I don't have my book, but they reduced
From
it
3,000 to
down
300?
Down to 500
About 500?
that the nursing home would be purchasing.
And I asked that question, and the answer that I got was that they didn't want to commit the nursing home to buying $3,000 worth of vegetables from the farm. Well, any item in the budget, you're not committed to having to spend it all. I mean, I didn't follow the reasoning.
There's none that I'm aware of. I think it was symbolic, because Rob's clear understanding is that it is our goal to help and support the farm in any way we can, but it's based on a competitive assessment of what would he be paying Cisco,
Yeah.
is what he'd be paying Will, how much he'd get, the quality. So Rob always stays in control over that. He wasn't obligated to.
Yeah. The other comment I heard on Monday was that the vegetables coming from the farm was dirty and not of good quality. I checked with the farm supervisor this morning, and he said, well, if it happens to have a rain the day before and they pick it, I mean, they wipe them all off, but I guess they don't wash them. But have you heard dirty vegetables coming in?
No. We did have one episode
How about the
last year.
quality?
We had one episode last year where we took in way more. I'm not sure whether it was blue hubbard or some kind of squash, and there was an infection. But that was an exceptional situation that'll never happen again. That's the only incident that I'm aware of. There is a consideration of buying raw versus prepared, and that's a factor of the cost. And Rob weighs the labor, the raw cost against the benefit, the value, and if we can at all make it equal or close to equal, we always break to supporting the county.
Well, Howard,
Go ahead.
this is a subject that's close to my heart. Why, we have a potato peeler over at the nursing home.
I was just going to say that.
We can buy bags of potatoes from, if we can't raise them ourselves, from Grafton County for a very reasonable price. Why in the world would you go to Cisco to buy a can of prepared potatoes that's
Number
loaded
10
with
can.
sodium, loaded with everything else, when you can buy fresh food? Yes, it might cost you a few pennies more, or maybe some dollars more, but it's better food, it's locally grown, we're keeping the money in New Hampshire, we're supporting agriculture. The national statistics are, if something should happen and New Hampshire's left to stand for itself, it couldn't feed itself for 3 days.
We're the end of the pipeline.
Why aren't we using things like the potato peeler and buying fresh potatoes? I realize it's a little more work.
Well, because I don't
I
think
did it in the Navy.
Because I don't think we've been creative enough. Because I think there's a way to do it and still be financially responsible. But what it means is, we gotta work more closely with the House of Corrections, because that might be a wonderful offender program that could benefit both the House of Correction getting fresh potatoes and the nursing home getting fresh potatoes. So So I think we can look at doing that in a way that everybody wins. It doesn't have to cost the county more, and residents and offenders would get a work opportunity and better food, and residents would get better food at no added cost. So I don't think we have to pick, I don't think it's a guns or butter issue. I think if we get creative, we can find a way to make it work, and I think that's a great way.
But I don't think the jail should be involved in purchasing.
Oh, not purchasing.
You purchase, they prepare.
But the labor involved, and that's where Rob is always being sensitive, because he's got a very tight budget. You know, he'd love to go all fresh, but the handling costs and the staff costs can make that prohibitive. You know, and that's something that could be set up even in a secure area. That part doesn't even have to be in Mountain View. Maybe it does, but that would be a great project.
Jason, you want to make any comment on it off the top of your head?
I know Rob is working with Sergeant Perry, Corporal Loud, and they're in the process of developing a work program. They have talked about utilizing the potato peeler. I know Will has thinking about looking at purchasing some sort of a bean device where you can plant mass amounts of green beans, and then this machine comes through and picks all the green beans. And what we're thinking about doing is utilizing the kitchen at our facility to do all the preparation, and then sending it up to the nursing home for processing and product.
All right, so you feel right now anyway that it can all be prepared in the jail. You wouldn't need to use the old nursing home kitchen facility for any preparation, with the exception of if you're going to freeze anything, the freezers are at the old nursing home.
Yeah.
The capacity that you have at the new nursing home may not be able to handle all the blue hubbard squash that could be frozen, correct?
That's
Am I
true,
right?
because we're maxed out in the new nursing home, but the other freezers are left unused at all.
Right.
Something else that we can and should look at, I have no idea what the capacity that Grafton County has, but they've made great strides in food preparation with flash freezing and the like.
Yes.
Whether or not, there's no reason for us to duplicate, if they have excess capacity, and we could bring, bring his things there for preservation, it might well be worth the transportation cost. But, I mean, if there's a problem with produce, it all comes within a, 8 to 12 day cycle, time frame, which is more than we can handle. But if they could freeze it, it changes things considerably.
You have any further comment, Jason?
I don't know what their capacity is up there now.
Okay. Well, would you support putting that money back into the nursing home budget, $3,000?
I don't know that it was taken out, except my
Just
understanding
taken
was
out.
that was reallocated to the food line.
That's what, that
Well,
was mine also.
That's,
In
that
which
was
case
suggested.
in which case it doesn't really matter, because it's gonna go to food, and Rob's gonna decide, but our policy is to always give first consideration, to the farm,
Yeah.
where it makes sense, so that, I believe the total dollars are the same. Where it's allocated, I think you're dealing with a political issue, not a nutritional or a financial issue. But I like the idea of working collaboratively with the House of Corrections
Okay.
to buy more fresh.
Okay. Double check with Rob. I don't like people to say that we're providing duty vegetables to the nursing home or the quality is low. Now, quality could be low if we're talking about zucchini that are supposed to be this long and we're giving them zucchini that's long. Quality is not as good, no question about it. But I don't like to have negative things said if they're not true. So if you check with Rob to find out if it is dirty, then we need to do something about it.
Well, but I talked with Rob about this yesterday, and Rob doesn't know where the stories came from, because Rob, has the iron fist. He doesn't buy what isn't good.
Yeah.
And now the squash that went bad after the fact. He didn't buy it bad. There was some kind of an infestation that appeared after it was in storage.
Okay.
So no, Rob does not accept anything that he doesn't want to buy. So I don't know, neither he nor I know where those stories came from, but they are not, it's not part of the ongoing practice.
Okay. Okay.
I got another question.
Go ahead.
I go through the cafeteria quite frequently. Do we have the most modern type of accounting or cashier or cash register there? It seems to me, every time I go through, the girls pull a piece of paper out from over here and they look to see what it is, and then they charge it up. Is that the most efficient way to do it, because you're getting a variation in price or what they feel like charging you today?
It's not at all. But the good news is that it is in the budget for replacement. So Rob has that in the budget, and the subcommittee has recommended it, and it seems to be willing to be approved by the delegation to actually upgrade that whole register and actually be able to go to a credit card system too.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did they pass the nursing home budget on
No.
Monday? They
Now,
didn't.
this is my understanding, they passed all the different components of it, but they're looking for a final revenue and a final bottom line.
Revenue, okay.
To vote on Friday. So, you know, so I think I think they're through with us, except for just getting confirmed. And I actually got those figures from Kath this morning, so we have all the final
Yeah.
figures.
Okay. Getting back to the waste management, we need a motion for me to sign this. No, we're gonna hold off till
read
next
it
week.
and Do it next week.
Yep, okay, thank you. Okay, you got anything
Yeah.
else?
That's all I have for you.
Not a bad day.
I know, it's, I'll tell you later what happened. Okay,
Thank you, Commissioner.
thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
I'll see you Friday.
See you then.
Okay, Jason?
Mr. Chairman, is there any point, unless Jason and Jason have a report on our guests at the House of Correction? They came in to discuss the training program with Commissioner Kenney, who's not here. So,
No, yeah.
do they need to stay, or?
The reason you're here is because of the training program?
Yes.
I'm sorry that Commissioner Kenney did inform me that she couldn't be here this morning, but it was already posted that we'd have our meeting at 8:30, so we need to hold off until she can be here.
In all due fairness, she called me as well last night and
Oh,
said
she did?
yeah, she
Okay.
wouldn't be able to make it for this morning, but she could be in later this afternoon.
Okay.
The only thing that, if you'd like, I do have the numbers that I typically provide, if you want that information while I'm here.
The numbers for what, Jay?
You know, the typical population report and things of that
Yes,
nature.
yes, go ahead,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
So we have 54 in this morning. We have 4 out on the monitor. We have 8 on transfer status, and total population of 66. We took in 8 offenders last week, 6 were repeaters, and 12 were released. This coming Friday, we have the graduation ceremony for the 95th New Hampshire Association of Counties Corrections Academy. So we have
What
3,
time is that?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
It's going to be at Police Standards and Training. It's going to be in the TAC Center. If you're familiar with that, it's the big auditorium-style room that they have.
It's too bad that, well, I should ask this question. I know myself and another commissioner attended one of those ceremonies when it was held at Primex.
Mhm.
Do you get good attendance from other county commissioners? Are you aware of, do they have good attendance at these academies?
It's sporadic. Sometimes there is good attendance and other times
Yeah.
there's not. So it's a hit or miss. There's nothing that I've seen consistently.
Yeah. I was just wondering, when it was at the Primex building, because we had an AMPS Association of Counties meeting in the morning,
Mhm.
and it was held at 1 o'clock, they stayed over and
Boy, that
went to
makes
that.
sense.
What's that?
That makes a lot of sense.
And I guess just because it's an auditorium, is there anything done at this planted, the police academy that is done prior to the graduation?
No, the
It's just
the
held at 1
ceremony
o'clock and,
is the same. I think,
They test in the morning.
well, yeah, they test, but I think the time that it was held at Primex, it was just coincidental that it was the same day as an executive committee meeting. It's not consistently
yeah,
always the same
Friday.
Oh, okay.
So graduation is on a specific day in the program at the end.
Correct.
You can't have your last day and then 2 weeks later, because will be Association of Counties Friday. You don't want to do that. You want to, when the final day comes, you want that to be the end. You don't want to
Right,
push
because
out
then they can,
graduation 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks.
yeah, because then
Okay.
they go back to their work and things of that nature, so it's, and talking with retired Superintendent Grenier, who is the Academy Commandant, he retired out of Belknap County, he said that our 3 officers are doing an outstanding job down there. So that was great news to hear.
So we have 3 that's gonna graduate, and I'll always ask the question, how many more do we have to send to the academy?
Our next academy, we're gonna line up 2 to go.
2?
Yep. Yep.
And how many others are not certified yet?
We have 10 total?
10?
10 total right now. I mean, it'll knock it down to 7. Yeah, we're gonna try and get 8 through. That's what I budgeted for, is get 8 through this year. And since we're not hiring anybody new, other than if anybody through attrition, we might be on board to get everybody certified this year.
Jason, I know I've asked this question a dozen times and I keep forgetting it. Do you ask these young men or young women for a commitment if we send them to
I don't think so.
the certification?
No, we don't do a contract with them. I know that's been we're trying to work on it this year. I've talked to a couple of the local PDs to get some contract language so we can implement. But I think I'm not sure if it would be a union thing or not. It might be a management component, but we haven't moved on that yet.
But if you hire them with the understanding that if you send them to school and they're going to make a commitment for 18 months or 2 years, how does that become a union item? I mean, they're doing it before they've even come to work here and they're
Right.
agreeing to it.
We just haven't done it. In my entire time here, we've never had a contractual agreement with corrections, and I know that's something that the delegation has asked for.
Well, it's my understanding, and from the figures you showed me, that, yes, there's some of these people that come and realize that after a while, they're not fit for they're fit for the job, but it isn't their cup of tea. But then there are a lot that I've been sitting here for 7 years. They come to work here and for a while, get the training, and then go to work for a local police department.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those.
I would think we've had more than a couple.
Yeah.
We've also had some come from a police department to the jail, according
That's
to the
true.
annual report.
But considering the turnover rate there, I would think it would be a priority to find out whether we can contractually do something with these employees, because we're paying for it now.
It costs us, what,
Taxpayers.
$700 per person to send them to the academy?
I'm sorry, sir?
Is it $700 that we pay to send them to the academy?
The certification's $500, and then
Plus
plus the
transportation, we gotta
transportation.
pay for their transportation
Yeah.
down and back every day.
Great. Before I leave, I'll go get with Lynette and see if we can reach out to Primex and see if they can offer some assistance on how to develop a contract.
I mean, it may not be legal, but it's certainly with the turnover we have, it's certainly it should be a priority and investigate whether legally we can do it.
Yep. I'll look into that.
That's nice.
Want me to continue?
Go ahead.
Okay. On Friday, we're also sending some staff down to Cheshire County, where we've signed a contract with Arconics and Securus. They have a quarterly user group meeting, and so a bunch of the counties that are using Arconics is gonna be at that meeting. So we're gonna be able to go down, hear some of the issues that these other counties are dealing with, and listen to how Arconics is gonna plan to resolve them, which will kind of put us a little step ahead for when they come in to start with working with us. Assistant Superintendent Henry and Lieutenant Batchelder accompanied the HR staff down to Rockingham County last week, and they did a training on workers' comp and property liability insurance. And then we have
Excuse me,
parenting.
did Primex put that on in
No.
Rockingham?
That was Primex's class, yes. And we have 14 offenders in a parenting program that took place yesterday and today. So it's good.
Parenting is put on by
UNH.
Cooperative Extension.
Yep.
Are they there
Male
today?
and female, or just male?
Male and female.
Male and?
Mm-hmm.
Are they there today?
Yes, sir.
What time?
Right now. They got there around 8 o'clock, I want to say, right around 8. So a good attendance. That's all I have.
I have a question for you that I think if we discuss it between you and Commissioner Babson, as to why we dropped one full-time correctional officer from the request in our budget. We had 2 in there, and we dropped one, and then they cut one. Please, are you knowledgeable as to why one was dropped prior to going to the delegation?
Yes, because Jason had incorrectly figured it in his budget. He thought he was figuring for
Okay.
2, and he
But
was
I-
only figuring for 1, so
Yeah.
we made it take out the 1, and the delegation apparently thought the 1 extra was too many, so they took out the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
One of the
just
times that
wondered
when I put the formula in the cell in Excel, that I forgot to add the ×2 rather than,
Oh,
that's what I did.
okay, okay,
My mistake.
no problem. I think I would encourage you and Rob and Will and your Sergeant Perry and I guess
Corporal Loud.
the other, and Corporal Loud. I hope they meet and get something going real quick.
Mhm.
Because if the farmer's gonna plant more, they need to be on board to take care of it at the end of during the harvest season.
Absolutely.
So I would hope, encourage you that moves forward quickly and,
They've had 3 or 4 meetings already. And based on the meetings, Rob's already done some menu changes. They've discussed what would be successful. I know Will has also been part of this meeting, and I didn't mention him earlier. But they've discussed what would be successful, and Will's already gearing towards planting more product in the fields.
okay,
So they are diligently working on it.
And then grab
Okay.
and send over a seed count of what they're doing to get them started
Yes.
seeding.
Mhm.
has anybody followed up with the possibility of maple syrup, maple sugaring
No.
between the jail and the farm and?
I have, they sell it at Hannaford's.
You can
Sit
get a
there and
better,
watch- You're gonna sit
you
there and
can get a
watch
better price
40
at Job
gallons
Lot.
of water boil.
you can get a better price at Job Lot.
I'd like to look at that, knowing we could do this. I'd like to set that as a project for next year.
Next
but
year,
Yeah,
yeah.
and put things together so we can properly budget for equipment that we may need and things of that nature.
And you either have to have a four-wheeler or a snow machine to get to the sites where you're tapping the trees.
Okay.
That ought to be included in a budget if you're gonna do that. I'm glad you're not doing it this year, because it's not a good year. Okay, anything else? No?
Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, if I come over there when we're done, can I sit in on the parenting class?
If it's still going on, absolutely, Commissioner. Sure.
It's too late for you. Your kids are all grown.
I have grandchildren.
Okay. All right, we're at a point in our agenda of a work session. Do we have anything for the work session?
Not this week.
Not this week? Okay, I will follow up with Hale's location regarding reevaluation. I think that's the only thing that's holding up that budget to being approved on Friday.
Have we got any more on the school situation there?
No. You read the contract like I have. We can let the attorney look at the contract, but I believe we have to give them 3-year notice.
Yes. But what I guess I'm asking, I know I saw a piece of paper that said they were raising the charge for the student to 55,000. You say.
No.
No. What I'm asking, are we back to the 33 or 32, whatever it was last year that was high, but at least it wasn't.
It's not 50, it's,
33.
yeah, it's in the
34.
30s.
But that's what they're paying. They're
Yeah.
not paying the 55.
According to our budget, that's what they're paying, it's 5
Okay.
kids. And I met with a chartered school, they only go up to the 5th grade. The 5 kids that are there, there's 2 in high school and 3 in middle school. And so it doesn't help to look at another elementary school.
Can I ask Mr. Bryan a question?
Yeah.
Stephen, you're chairman of the school board down in Wakefield. Do you know offhand what it costs you per student in your system? 8,000, 9,000?
No, our high school kids go out of district, and that's roughly about 12.
12?
12,
Yeah.
including transportation?
No, that's just tuition
Okay.
to go out, and transportation is additional.
Is that on the high side of 11 or the low side of 12?
It's a little over 12, I think it's
Okay.
like 12,040,
Okay,
something
that's
like
good.
that. It's just a
But it
little-
isn't 11:10 and you just
No,
run?
no, it's 12, it's a little over 12,
And that's high school.
that's high school.
What about elementary?
Elementary, 13,250.73.
Ooh, 13?
More.
250.73.
Why is that, Steve? If it would appear to me that if anything, Spalding would want to be charging you for some capital cost down there, and they've just built a big addition and
2%.
2%
2%?
Mm-hmm.
for capital.
Yes.
You got any idea what the capital expense per student out of the 13 is in Wakefield?
No, but that is part of it, because
That's
you
part of the
have,
cost of it.
you have a, you have a facility, you have your own employees, so that's all
Right.
part of the reason why it's actually a little more.
Thank you.
Any idea how many kids you send to high school from your school district?
They're projecting 199 for next year. I think it's a little over 2 right now.
So the number's going down.
There've been student populations that have been going down for a decade. And they're continuing to go down.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else to be brought up in a work session?
No?
Then we'd ask for any public input at this time? Ed?
You talked about the county farm producing produce for the county nursing home. Do any area farmers actually also give to that?
To the
nursing
farm
home?
or to the nursing
To the
home?
nursing home? Do you go
Not-
outside the county farm?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, there are a lot of people that produce food on the outside of the county
Yeah,
that could be tapped. Because I believe that if something did happen nationally, I think our state would actually come together.
mm-hmm.
So I think we should begin now and start tapping into the area farmers who need our support.
I think Ed makes a very good point.
The same thing with the tapping of the trees.
Yep,
A lot of people are doing that also.
yep. We have somebody that taps our trees that we need to look into as to how many trees he's tapping and what we're charging. I was thinking that it was 75 cents a tap, but it needs to be reviewed. And the individual that's tapping our trees, it's all up on the mountainside. And it's the guy that's up on the hill, Wakefield Hill, that is doing the tapping. So we need to review that, find out what he's doing.
Also, as I recall from my days sitting out here, and the public was going to pay us 75 cents a tap and give us 2 gallons, wasn't it?
In lieu of 2 gallons. It wasn't
In lieu of 2
two,
gallons?
it wasn't together.
Oh,
He
okay.
was to give us 2 gallons and
Because you're gonna raffle them off.
raffle them off, I think is what, and I don't, as far as I know, and the farm has not received any maple syrup, so, anyway.
Every year you vote, usually, you vote in public on the sobriety checkpoints, the grant.
Yeah,
Did that come across your desk yet to vote for?
yes,
You did?
yes.
What grant was that wrapped up in, because it wasn't mentioned?
It's a sheriff's department grant that came from, I don't know if it comes from the feds through the state or just from the state, and it's through that testing out on Route 16 again.
What I've always noticed is with grants,
Yep.
the public never really gets to review the grants. I find that most elected officials don't read the grants or the fine print. And I think the public would appreciate if you are gonna have a grant come across your desk, that you should put it on the agenda
Mhm.
and gather public input. Even though the statute may not force you to do that, it would be a good idea, because a lot of people have issues with the sobriety checkpoints and federal grants that come down.
Mm-hmm,
And it would be nice to gather some public input on that.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we asked the county attorney as to whether the county government is considered a municipality. Her interpretation was that it's not. Otherwise, the RSA claims or requires that that they have a public hearing on any and all grants if you are a municipality.
And that the legislative body accepts it.
And what?
And the legislative body has to vote on it.
Okay, okay. Her interpretation was that we're not considered a municipality, like a town type government. So, but your point is was well taken, and we will consider from now on any grants that we approve would be made public. Okay? Yes, Mr. Brown?
So if you're not a municipality, what are you?
We're a county government. County is not listed under schools, towns, precincts, and that kind of a thing.
3195, Stephen mentions towns, municipalities, cities, unincorporated places. The only thing that isn't named in there is a county, so we are not included in that, which requires that they have a public hearing and the legislative body takes a vote. And if we were, it would be the delegation's responsibility to take the grant, not ours. They're the legislative body.
Ed, follow up?
Yes, then what you should do is you should go above that and do what's right. You don't need statutes to
You're right.
guide
Yeah,
everything.
you're
You're
right.
right, we're
You're
not
right.
arguing that, you're
Okay.
right.
No. Anything else from the public? Okay, seeing none, I would like to go into non-public just to approve the minutes.
Okay.
You have one non-public minute, or two, or
2 or 3,
2 or 3?
yeah.
Okay, if there's no objection,
I have a question, because
Okay.
I've never been in this situation before, being the newbie here. What happens if we get non-public minutes? I think they should be released and you don't. What happens?
Well, I guess nothing happens today if we're not unanimous.
So we will have the opportunity, if that situation comes up, for the third member, if she
Sure.
decides to come to the meetings, to vote,
That's always the case. That's what we've done in the past.
okay? Well, I haven't been here, that's what I don't remember a one-to-one vote with
Oh, I don't
with a
either.
member missing.
I don't
just
either.
wanna know what the procedure was. That's fine with me if it comes out one-to-one and we have another shot at it.
Okay, sure. Yep. Anytime, we can review the non-public and release them if we feel they should be released.
Which, speaking of, we're still on, when are we going to get the materials from the locked-up file cabinet into the safe that we've listened to? Buying a safe now for, well, I've listened to it for 3 years. We have the safe is fixed. When are we gonna get it? It was supposed to be done 2 weeks ago. Commissioner Kenney has not made an arrangement or come, since she didn't do it, to get it done. And we have every right to see those minutes as much as she does.
I think that was clear at the delegation meeting on Monday. I spent 20 minutes with her going over the combination of the safe that's down by your desk. She has problems in trying to open up the safe. I've opened it up in front of her. I've showed her she has a combination. She's worked it. To answer your question,
Well, it's open now, and all she has
It's
to do is
open.
put the stuff in and shut the door.
well, I left it open for her on Monday to do that. We came up here, she came up later, and she locked it back up in her safe. Which reminds me, we need to get another box to put all those settlements that were
I'm
made
waiting
over
for
the
a
years.
call back from the Lochner doctor.
Okay.
He said he'd get me a price on a.
I mean, I'd like to get them out of my desk too.
Right.
So as soon as we can get that, then we can.
Thank you for reminding me, I'll
move
call him
forward.
again today.
Okay,
Call
all right.
Doc.
I'd move that we go into non-public session. And I don't know you have copies of the, I don't know what we do for non-public minutes, what the reason is for it.
What is the number for non-public minutes?
Yeah, we're just looking at it.
Thank you.
It may be under the same RSA that the minutes were considered under. I mean, the motion to approve them would be the same reason you went into non-public in the first place, mightn't it?
This is an absolutely crazy law. Well-intentioned craziness.
Well,
What do we, plus it's a waste of our time to sit here and try to figure out which one of these we're gonna put, reading non-public minutes that the public, we don't know whether we wanna go public with or not,
well,
is it?
in order to approve the non-public minutes,
have
we
to
could
go
do
in
that in
non-public.
public
But we couldn't
if
talk
there's
about
no
it.
changes, that's
Yeah,
right.
But we couldn't talk about it.
I guess it would be RSA 91A32C,
What is that?
adversely affect the reputation of any person.
I wouldn't say that applies. Why don't we give Mr. Comeau a chance to charge us some more money, and we'll just call it, we'll just say we're gonna
That
approve
is-
the
that is
non-public
correct.
minutes.
What's
That
that?
is correct, because you're going into non-public to review minutes. What were the original non-public minutes for? You don't know.
We don't know what the
We don't
minutes
know
are.
until we look at them.
Well, I can actually probably tell you that.
I don't, we should know, we don't remember,
One is a personnel issue.
okay?
One is an attorney conference. And another personnel issue.
All right, then, I believe it'd be under RSA 91A32C.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I'm gonna be very sticky here.
go ahead.
Probably not nice. I'm not willing to risk any more of my personal earnings with another lawsuit from Mr. Comeau charging us as individuals, sitting here wondering, and having him come back 2 days later and say, oh, no, you didn't do it legally. So I'm not gonna look at the minutes unless he agrees not to take us over to court to the situation and puts it on the camera.
You have the non-public minutes in front of you, you know what it's for. You chose the correct path. You chose the correct.
Doesn't say that those sections don't say anything about minutes, and I'm not willing to risk another suit with
No,
you,
you're-
Mr. Comeau.
You're reviewing minutes because of personnel, correct? I mean, that's what the subject
At
is.
least two of them are.
And that's what you can go in for, because you're gonna review that.
I'm not taking the chance, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then we will. So if we,
We can ask, we can call our lawyer at $250 an hour and ask her which one it goes under. Then we're sure, because I'm not getting sued again as an individual. I'm sorry they want to go that way, that's the way I'm going.
well, without two votes, we can't do anything, so
Okay, that's good.
put the non-public minutes back in the envelope and keep them.
Could I have some public, please?
We had that already, but go
I
ahead.
understand that.
Go ahead.
You know, I'm a little under the weather because I'm up all night long and trying to maintain with the meeting.
Okay,
But on a subject matter earlier that Ed brought up about the grants
yep,
and municipalities.
Yeah.
The fact is that all these municipalities and such lie within the boundaries of the county.
Yep.
Even though the way the law is adjusted and everything, it's still unfair in that respect. My question would be, is what gives you the authority to take grants from the federal government without the people's consent?
delegation has given us the authority to accept grants. I would say you look at the delegation as to how they can have the authority to give us the authority to accept grants.
I would say, John, it's the same way that we make a law. We have voted these delegates in to be our representative in the government, and they, you know, we give them the
Well, I
authority
understand.
because we've elected them.
And I also spoke in front of the New Hampshire Senate one day, and I says, you know, you're all so busy making what-if laws. If this situation occur and everything, we have a law now to cover that. But I said, they subjugate the power of the jury by doing so, which takes the power from the people in judging the law. So there's been a lot of run around and go around, and the people are being left out. Their voice is not being heard because of what-if laws, and maybe policy and procedure leaves them out as well.
It's done intentionally.
I know that, and that's why I'm talking on it.
Cut it off.
You know, that's
Okay.
why I'm speaking on that.
The point is well taken.
You know, all these grants and everything's like a piece of cheese in front of you.
May I say?
I don't appreciate it,
Okay.
because it's, you know, the reason for the grant that's in question here is borderline breaching the Fourth Amendment. Everybody else is, you know, everybody that goes down that roadway is subjected to a search to some degree. You know, if they have any kind of suspicion, they get searched. And they're not even, you know, necessarily, you know, influenced by alcohol or drugs or anything. And I think that's unfair to the community, just because they're looking for a couple individuals. That's wrong.
Okay.
Your transportation constitutionally should not be inconvenienced. You should be free to move without restriction.
Okay.
John, could I make a suggestion that you talk to your state representative, or Stephen, you talk to yours, or Ed, you talk to yours? I personally would like to see counties added to the grant procedure. We've got everybody else, but we don't have
Well,
counties.
indirectly you are, but it's not being
Well, you
acknowledged.
feel that way. I think if
Okay.
it goes to court, you'd find out.
I understand, but I
You'd
said-
find out we're not, and why not add counties? Why should they be able to come in here, the sheriff's department, if they want to set up a speed check and not have that okayed by the delegation. I agree with you 100%, but it's not in the law.
Okay, good. Yes, Ed?
Sorry. Real quick.
We're going beyond the
I know.
public input, but we have time today, so go ahead.
Before, I said that instead of just going by statute, do what's correct. In Brookfield, what we're going to try to do is create a grant review committee. So, just by pure town resolution, we're going to create a committee, and every grant that goes over our desk, we're gonna look at it. And see where all the little, if there's anything, we wanna know where the money's coming from, because half the time, do we really know where all the money is actually originating from? So we wanna check that out, and maybe that'll spread. And it is the legislature, and the legislature already allows the states to go to the feds. And if that money was cut off, you wouldn't get anything done in the state. So, thank you.
Okay. Could I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions or comments regarding adjourning? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So voted, we
I'm
adjourn
gonna
at
go over to the jail.
at,